Let's talk about motivation. Have you ever wondered why one job can feel like a total drag while another one just feels electric? Well, today we're unlocking the secrets of what really drives us. And understanding this stuff isn't just some fun psychological puzzle, it's a total game changer for your performance, your career, and just how happy you are. So let's kick things off with a simple story we all kind of think we know. Okay, so this is the story we all get, right? It seems perfect. Our motivation, our inner drive, pushes us to perform well. That great performance gets us rewards, a bonus, a promotion. And then those rewards fuel even more motivation. It looks like this perfect little engine that just keeps running. But if it's really that simple, then what about this? Yeah, how do you explain this? This is what we call the compensation paradox. I mean, think about it. You've got these big Bay Street investment banks in Toronto paying out huge bonuses, but they're dealing with crazy high turnover and burnout. And then just down the road in Waterloo, you've got tech startups paying way less, but people there are fiercely loyal. They're cranking out amazing stuff. So clearly that simple story we started with, it's missing something big. All right, so to figure out what's really going on here, let's actually take a closer look at that simple cycle. We've got to understand how the gears are supposed to work before we can see why the whole machine just jams up so often in the real world. So that drive we're talking about, it basically comes in two flavors. On one side, you've got intrinsic motivation. That's, the joy you get from the work itself, that feeling of mastering a skill or cracking a really tough problem. And on the other side, you have extrinsic motivation. That's all about the external payoff, right? The bonus, the praise, whatever. Now, most jobs are a mix of both. But as you're about to see, getting that balance right, well, that's everything. And this is where we get to the heart of the problem. You see, that simple cycle we talked about, it's not some solid steel chain. No way! It's actually more like a chain with some really fragile links, and any one of them can snap. Okay, so this lays it all out. There are three big ways this whole thing can fall apart. First up, that link from motivation to performance. It can just snap. I mean, you can be super driven, but if you don't have the right skills or the right tools, you're still going to fail. Then there's the second link, performance to rewards. This one's tricky. You could do brilliant work, but maybe nobody notices, or the bonus system is just totally unfair. And number three, this one's wild. That final link from rewards back to motivation can break. Get this, the wrong kind of reward can actually kill your passion for the work. It turns something you love into a chore. So, to make sense of all this complexity, we need some better tools. So we're going to look at two really powerful theories. Think of them like two different lenses, each one giving us a totally unique way to see and solve this whole motivation puzzle. So, let's put on these two lenses and take a look. First, you've got expectancy theory. This one sees motivation as like a rational calculation. It's you asking yourself, is all this effort actually worth it? And then you've got self-determination theory. This one sees motivation as something way deeper. It's asking, does this work actually fulfill me on a psychological level? So you've got logic versus fulfillment. Okay, let's dive into expectancy theory first. It boils down to this really slick formula. Basically, your motivation is these three things multiplied together. First is expectancy. Do I believe I can actually do this? Then there's instrumentality. If I pull it off, am I really going to get that reward they promised? And finally, valence. How much do I even want that reward in the first place? And here's the kicker. That multiplication sign is everything. If any one of those factors drops to zero, say you don't believe you'll get the reward, your total motivation plummets to zero. Poof, it's gone. Okay, now for our second lens, self-determination theory. This theory argues that the real secret to deep, lasting motivation isn't some formula. It's all about satisfying three basic universal human needs. First is autonomy, that feeling that we're in control, that we're directing our own lives. Then there's competence, that urge to get better and better at stuff that matters to us. And finally, relatedness, our deep need to connect with other people and to a purpose that's bigger than just ourselves. When a job hits all three of those notes, you don't need carrots and sticks. The drive just comes from inside. All right, that's enough theory for now. Let's see how this stuff actually plays out in the real world. We're going to look at two huge software companies. They both hire super smart people, but man, they motivate them in completely different ways.
This table breaks it down so clearly. Okay, on one side, you've got OpenText, this Canadian giant. They're all about sales efficiency. For their sales teams, that expectancy theory model is perfect. Clear effort leads to clear sales targets, which leads to a very clear commission. It's a powerful engine for that kind of structured work. And then you've got Atlassian, the Aussie innovators. These guys are a total masterclass in self-determination theory. They do those famous ship it days where engineers get to work on literally anything they want. They're all about fostering autonomy, mastery, and a real connection to purpose.
And this brings us to the most important takeaway here. Neither one of these strategies is better than the other. They're just different tools for different kinds of jobs. The open text way, perfect for what we call algorithmic work, rule-based stuff like hitting a sales quota. Atlassian's approach, it's built from the ground up for heuristic work, the creative, problem-solving stuff like inventing a new product. So the lesson is crystal clear. The work itself has to dictate your motivation strategy. One size definitely does not fit all. Okay, so what's the bottom line here? What does this all mean for us today? How do we take all these theories and real-world examples and turn them into a playbook that actually works in the modern workplace? Well, it really starts with this brilliant idea from the management legend Peter Drucker. The modern way of thinking about this is that pay isn't the main motivator. It's just the foundation. The real goal is to pay people well enough and fairly enough that the issue of money is just off the table, so they can stop worrying about it and actually focus on the work itself. And that brings us to what might be the single most important question any manager can ask themselves. Is the work I'm asking my team to do algorithmic, or is it heuristic? In other words, is it like following a recipe with a really clear set of steps? Or is it more like inventing a totally new dish, something that requires creativity and trial and error? Because for the simple recipe-following stuff, those if-then rewards, if you do this, then you get that, they work great. But for the creative, inventive work, man, there is a mountain of research showing that those same if-then rewards can actually backfire. They can crush creativity and make performance worse. So here it is, the modern playbook for motivation. Step 1, get the foundation right. Pay people fairly. Take money off the table as a source of anxiety. And once that's done, the real work begins. And it's not about running some new incentive program. It's about building an entire environment, a culture where people's natural, built-in drive for autonomy, mastery, and purpose can just take off. You know, this really signals a massive shift in what it even means to be a manager these days. The old job, you were basically a monitor. You just watched output and made sure people followed the rules. The new job, you're more like a curator. Your job is to create the right context, connect people to a meaningful purpose, and then, honestly, to just get out of their way and let them do great work. And I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Think about it. As AI starts to automate more and more of the routine, the algorithmic parts of our jobs, what's going to be left? It's going to be the uniquely human stuff, right? The creative work, the innovative problem solving, the empathy. So in that future, is your real value going to be about what you do, or is it going to be about the purpose, the drive, the why behind it all? Thanks for tuning in.